It is now like the second week out of Lil Nas X's album, and unfortunately for him, he did not heed the warnings of the other rappers in the world and chose to drop his project around the same time as the two men who run the genre. So, you couldn't get that #1 at first. But, maybe there was a chance for him to get it later on, but now that NBA Youngboy dropped his, I think it's over. I wanted to talk about how someone like NBA is not someone people really hear about that often, other than his useless fans me writing him, yet he is somehow able to beat this guy Lil Nas, who's been pushed to us on the news over and over again. And it kind of reminded me of a similar rapper who has this quality about him. You see, Tekashi has always been someone who doesn't really rely on his music to sell records. I mean, people like his music and everything, not anymore because it's kind of getting old. But back when he was in his heyday, like in 2018, people were listening to his music, people thought it was hard and cool. But at the same time, he knew that he couldn't just make music and call it a day like other rappers who, matter. He had to do all he could to troll, he had to do all he could to provoke other people, be a tryhard, do all he could to prove that he was a gangster, or prove that other people, had to listen to him for who he was and not what music he made. And I think there is a certain reason to do that, because if you're just a weirdo nobody who makes music, it doesn't really work that well in your favor unless you make immaculate music, or if you stop doing stuff later in your career. People like Jay-Z don't have to be in the news to sell records because they already did what they had to do back when they were young. So it's not like every rapper can just do that. I feel like if you're a rapper, you need to, in some way, be in the news, keep people interested in you, at least when you're starting out, or this is your first couple of years of actually being important or relevant. But at the same time, people like Lil Nas X and Tekashi relied so heavily on social media antics. They are worse off than people who get less coverage than them, which in turn makes them look even lamer. I don't think that either of them sold poorly at all. Both Tekashi and Lil Nas X sold more than most rappers, so I'm not even saying they flopped. What I'm saying is, they are people who are the most known rappers right now. Even old heads, people who are grown adults when they were both born, know about them and talk about them. They are actually celebrities, really. And despite that, nobody seems to care about their music. And which is a big problem because it's how they make money, being annoying on the internet. You make money by people actually buying your stuff. They are making a lot of money. I'm not saying that, there's in danger for not selling 1 million first week, but I am saying that these careers don't seem to last. Remember that one guy that was playing our eardrums for the mid-10s, otherwise known as the worst period of music? He was known for being annoying and, talking about how young he was and how all the old heads are jealous of him and, sad that they can't be like him. And look where he is now. I mean, yeah, people had to pretend they liked his music because he was relevant, but now that the dust is settled, we all know he's a washed up loser who shouldn't have been famous in the first place. Compare and contrast with someone else in his generation who was never really as big as him, but people knew him for the music. And while he never reached that high of a career and still maybe isn't as big as he was a couple of years ago, he has a solid reputation. And he makes enough money where, it seems now that, oh, we don't think he fell off. We just think, well, he hasn't dropped music in a while, or, at least he's doing good. Same with another person of that same region who makes decent music and people enjoy. Despite never having been much of a mainstream celebrity, he still has enough fans to hold him over. So, think if you're a musician, you should, care more about the music. Because another thing is, not Lil Nas X, because I can tell he, actually cares about this. But a lot of these rappers who come out on the scene don't care about the music they make. They just see it as a paycheck. And that kind of is the reason why their music doesn't sell as well as they might think it should. I think that if you're going to be into music, you don't have to know every musician ever, but you should at least treat it like your life or something. You should at least care about music. And you can say anything about you want about NBA, his music, because I don't listen to him, but I can tell from what I've listened to, he actually cares about music. Even if it's not my type, I can tell that he takes it seriously, at least seriously enough where I don't group him with those losers from the mid-10s who did everything they could to invalidate the career. That being said, a lot of people still exist to just take advantage and make terrible music because they got a social media following. But unlike a couple of years ago, they're no longer the forefront of music, so I'm not mad at it. Lil Nas, I think he does care about music. I think he does try at least to make music, but the problem is his music was never something that people really listens to and said it was that good. when he first came out, people just liked the novelty of a hip-hop song that was in a country format, which is cool and everything, but he was in danger of being a one-hit wonder. So I can see why he felt the need to do all he could to get people's attentions and, you know, waste everyone's time. But at the same time, he didn't really have many options if you think about it, because if he hadn't done something to get people's attention at first, then he would have just gone down as one of those other people who hijacked the movements to make their stupid song, and then nobody cared about them ever again. So there's a reason why he needed to do everything he could to like stay in attention. But at the same time, unlike Tekashi, who kept making hits or whatever until he went away, Lil Nas is not known for any songs besides the ones that just make people talk because of what they are or their music videos. People don't bring up his hits, and that isn't that much of a problem in itself, because it's not like NBA himself, like, you know, has these big hits that everyone keeps pointing to. He does have a couple songs everyone knows, I know, but I mean, like, he doesn't have like Drake level hits. He doesn't have like one-time wonder type hits. He just is known for the music he makes. I think that if Lil Nas didn't like overstep his boundary or whatever with the whole trolling, and he just was known for making music after that initial, like, you know, shockwave of, oh, country rap, oh, he's not straight, I think it could have turned out a lot better than this, even though this is even bad. I think it could have been a lot less, I guess, disappointing than this, even though he's like number 2, so it's not even like he flopped or anything. People at least are not gonna talk, and this is not a good look. One of the most talked about rappers to be outsold by some guy who is in jail. This is not me talking about who I like more as a person or who I like more as a musician, because the truth is I really don't care about either of them, and I really don't listen to either music. But I will say it is clear that the people, whatever reason, the people who care about hip-hop, except NBA Youngboy way more, and not just because Lil Nas is gay, although that is a big reason, but more because Lil Nas is a person who needs to be in the news, while NBA is a person who can't get off the news by his own, you know, nonsense. And since a lot of people can relate to being the cause of their own downfall, I think they see NBA in themselves that they don't see with a lot of other rappers. I just think this is all interesting, really. I don't really care about talking about serious stuff of people getting shot and stabbed, because I don't want to make a channel about serious stuff, really. And I am very interested in numbers and, you know, who sells what, or how people impacted what, or, you know, how people shift the culture or whatever. If there's ever like a big story that comes out that's like super serious, like somebody getting like shot or something, you wonder why I wouldn't talk about it. Well, now you know. Take away from this that if you ever want a music career, then you should make music people actually care about.